Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your home for all things Liverpool. Today we dive into huge headlines. Liverpool lands the next Virgil van Dijk. Thomas Tuchel shocks fans with a Trent Alexander-Arnold twist, transfer drama around Marc Guehi, and the latest on Alexander Isak's saga. Stay tuned. This one's packed with fire. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Liverpool told it has signed next Virgil van Dijk. After beating Premier League rivals, now age 34, Van Dijk is certainly in the autumn years of his Liverpool career. Thankfully for the Reds, a potential long-term replacement was snapped up this summer. Martin Semmens, the man who signed Giovanni Leone for Parma last year, has claimed Liverpool has secured the heir to Virgil van Dijk this summer, following the Italian defender's move to Anfield. Liverpool fought off competition to sign Leone from Parma in a deal worth $26,035,000 plus add-ons. The Reds believe they have brought in one of the brightest young center-backs in Europe, despite Leone playing just 17 senior matches in his career. Semmens was similarly convinced of the teenager's talents when he ratified his move from Sampdoria to Parma the previous year. The ex-Southampton CEO, who also signed Van Dijk from Celtic, was CEO of Kraus Group Soccer, the owners of Parma, up until this summer. Semmens took up a similar role at London City Lionesses last month and revealed his admiration for Leone in a recent interview. Asked on TalkSport if the new Liverpool defender is the heir to Van Dijk, he replied, "Yeah, absolutely for me. We signed him the second year I was there in the summer, and I have a deep love for the likes of Tino Livramento for Southampton and signing these young players. Romeo Lavia, this was the same kind of deal. I think it was clearly the best young center-back in Italy, if not Europe. And again, we sold him the vision to come to our club to play in Serie A. I think it was 17 when he started playing, and then when the right moment comes, you will go." The view was that they would probably stay there longer than 1 year, but Leone was such a level, and again, I think it highlights Liverpool's ability that they spotted that. There were other clubs in the Premier League that asked me about him. Not as an executive for Parma because I'd left by then and I told them what I thought and they didn't follow through on it. 5 or 6 Premier League teams asked me, Semmens added. I told them he's as good as Virgil. Liverpool never called me, never asked for a reference, because they've got such an ability to find those players. Top player. Newcastle United is known to be among the cohort of interested clubs after Parma CEO Federico Cherubini revealed a bid from the Magpies was turned down during the transfer window. We rejected a higher offer from Newcastle for Leone, he told Gazzetta di Parma. But plans have changed with Liverpool. I've always said the club wanted to keep Giovanni, and he's always said he'd be happy to stay. We even turned down an offer from Newcastle, which was more advantageous than the one Liverpool eventually made. When the Reds came forward, our plans changed, both because the offer was very attractive and because Giovanni made it clear he was very happy to take advantage of this opportunity. Liverpool and England icon shocked by Thomas Tuchel's Trent Alexander-Arnold decision exclusive. John Barnes told Liverpool.com that he was surprised by Thomas Tuchel's selection for the upcoming matches against Andorra and Serbia. John Barnes has admitted he was surprised by Thomas Tuchel's decision to omit Trent Alexander-Arnold from the current England squad. The former Liverpool defender was not selected despite his recent high-profile move to Real Madrid, with Tuchel instead, opting for Reece James and Tino Livramento as the right-backs for the matches against Andorra and Serbia. Tuchel admitted James, who he worked with at Chelsea, is ahead of Alexander-Arnold in the pecking order, adding the new real defender needs to settle and find his rhythm in the Spanish capital. It's a decision that Barnes, who earned 79 England caps during his playing days, found surprising. I have to say I was surprised, even though he hadn't played much and hasn't hit the ground running at Real Madrid, the former winger told Liverpool.com at a Pico event in Liverpool City Centre. Thomas Tuchel has said that Reece James is the one who's going to play there. I don't necessarily think a right-back position is a position that is too influential, like if you leave out a numbered 10 or a goal scorer. But a right-back position is something that you can cope with. Yeah, I'm surprised he isn't in the squad, but I don't think that's as much of an issue. Tuchel's start to life as Three Lions boss has not been convincing, with lackluster showings against Latvia and Andorra, followed by a 3-1 loss to Senegal in June. The German coach will hope for 2 improved performances in the coming days, starting at Villa Park on Saturday when Andorra is the visitor. But Barnes admits he has some sympathy for Tuchel, given how little time he has to work with the players. It was always going to be a come-down after Gareth Southgate, said the former Liverpool star. They maximized their potential to do really well. It's a new manager getting used to it. We still have the same players, but they're getting used to Thomas Tuchel's new way of playing and new ideas. I think we're just having a few teething problems of him getting the team that he actually wants and how they want to play. The players understanding what they want from him because he's changing things. You get them for 1 week before they play, and how are you going to put a pattern or a system into place? So international managers are about just massaging your ego, letting them go and letting them play, which Gareth was very good at. Whereas Thomas Tuchel warns them, this is how I want us to play. But if you're only getting them 5 times a year for a week, it's difficult. So there are certain managers that are suited to club football and some for international football. Liverpool International Roundup. Hugo Ekitike makes debut as Alexander Isak suffers frustration. It was a memorable occasion for Liverpool's summer signing as he made his first senior appearance for the national team. But Alexander Isak's return was delayed slightly. Alexander Isak did not return to competitive action on Friday, despite being named in the Sweden squad to face Slovenia. The Liverpool striker has not played a match in nearly 3.5 months, prompting comments from head coach John Dahl, Thomason that he would not rush Isak back too soon or do stupid things given his lack of fitness. The decision from Thomason not to introduce Isak from the substitutes bench as Sweden searched for a late-winning goal perhaps indicates how far off the pace Isak currently is. The 25-year-old, whose 125,169,000 move to Liverpool on deadline day set a British transfer record, watched from the sidelines as Sweden was held to a 2-2 draw, and occasionally warmed up, much to the delight of the home fans in Ljubljana. Elsewhere, on a busy night of European action, 4 Reds were involved in World Cup qualifiers. The biggest story was reserved for Hugo Ekitike, who made his France debut in the 2-0 victory over Ukraine. The Liverpool forward was initially left out of the squad but was called up late following Ryan Cherki's injury, and he came off the bench for the final 9 minutes at the Tarczyński Arena in Poland. Ekitike could have even marked his senior debut with a goal had Kylian Mbappe opted to square the ball from a counterattack. Instead, the French captain's chipped shot was easily held. Ibrahima Konate also featured and made a superb goal-line clearance to preserve France's clean sheet. With William Saliba injured, Konate and center-back partner Dayot Upamecano put in a solid display at the back. Andy Robertson also kept a clean sheet as Scotland earned a credible 0-0 draw against Denmark during its first match of the qualifying group. The left-back played the full 90 minutes and nearly provided a game-changing moment when his excellent cross to Lyndon Dykes just skimmed over the Birmingham City forward's head. Greece, which beat Scotland in March's Nations League playoffs, is in the same group, meaning a reunion between Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas next month. The defender joined Roma on loan in the final days of the summer window and played 62 minutes in Greece's 5-1 win over Belarus. But there was disappointment for Giovanni Leone on his maiden international call-up. Gennaro Gattuso opted against naming the 18-year-old in Italy's matchday squad for the game against Estonia. The 2006 world champions won the match in Bergamo after what has been an unconvincing start to the group. Jadon Danns was also in action, scoring and captaining England under-20s in a 2-1 loss to Italy. Away from Europe, Mohamed Salah scored a first-half penalty on Friday as Egypt beat Ethiopia 2-0 in a World Cup qualifier. Intriguingly, having already converted from the spot, he allowed Manchester City's Omar Marmoush to take a second penalty Egypt was awarded a few minutes later, which was duly converted. Salah played 88 minutes and earned his 104th cap in what could prove to be a huge season on the international stage, with the African Cup of Nations and World Cup both on the horizon. Liverpool news. Newcastle stars respond to Alexander-Isak transfer as fresh snub comes to light. The dust has now settled on Alexander-Isak's blockbuster $125 million transfer from Newcastle to Liverpool on deadline day. Although new details are still emerging, Liverpool are beginning life as a new-look squad as they attempt to defend their Premier League title following the arrival of $450 million worth of new players. The Reds invested heavily in the summer. Transfer window, landing Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Hugo Ekitike, Giovanni Leone, and Alexander Isak as their headline additions. Unfortunately for Arne Slot, they couldn't get a deadline day 35-millimeter deal over the line for Marc Guehi, but it was still a real statement of intent. The international break has given all the clubs a chance to take stock of their situation, and Liverpool are no exception. They have made a perfect start to their Premier League campaign, winning all 3 games against Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Arsenal, but there have been signs of weakness. However, with team to gel on the training pitch coming up, Slot will be confident heading into the fixtures after the current break. For now, though, the stories coming out of the club remain about their transfer exploits. Here are the latest headlines. Newcastle respond to Isak exit. The Isak saga dominated the summer transfer window, and now that he's left, the Newcastle squad are happy to focus on other things. Dan Burn spoke about his ex-teammate while away on England duty on Thursday. "I'm glad it's done," Burn told reporters. "We wanted the transfer window to shut, just to get a bit of clarity on it. I have been in football long enough to understand that for a player, careers are short. For me, it is a tough situation because Alex is a mate, so you want him to be around helping the team, but I have nothing but good wishes for Alex." Anthony Elanga, who swapped Nottingham Forest for Newcastle in 55 millimeters, saw his Sweden teammate leave before he could play alongside him at club level. He told Fotbollskanalen, "Isak is a Liverpool player right now. I have the chance to play with him in the national team. He had a good career at Newcastle, but right now he is a Liverpool player. Good luck to him." We knew that Newcastle were unsuccessful with attempts to sign Ekitike before Liverpool landed him for 69 millimeters, but now it has emerged that there was a similar situation with Giovanni Leone. The Reds got him last month for 26 centimeters, but only after the club rejected a bid from the Mapgies. I've always said we wanted to keep him, and he's always said he'd be happy to stay here. We even turned down an offer from Newcastle, which was more advantageous than the one Liverpool eventually made, Parma chief executive Federico Cherubini told Gazzetta di Parma. "When the Reds came forward, our plans changed, both because the offer was very attractive and because the player made it clear he was very happy to take advantage of this opportunity. On the one hand, it's disappointing to lose such a promising young player, but on the other, we're proud to have believed in him in unsuspecting times, when he'd only played a few games in Serie B." Thomas Tuchel reveals crunch talks with Marc Guehi after Liverpool transfer collapse. Marc Guehi has been called straight into England duty just days after seeing a dream move to Liverpool collapse, and Thomas Tuchel has opened up on how the defender has behaved. Marc Guehi has held face-to-face talks with Thomas Tuchel after his transfer heartbreak. England boss Tuchel admitted he wanted to check on Guehi's state of mind after the Crystal Palace captain saw a 35 millimeters move to Liverpool collapse on deadline day. Guehi was left fuming after Palace pulled the plug on the deal but reported up. For England duty on Tuesday, has trained normally and is in line to play against Andorra and Serbia. Tuchel said, "We had a chat with him. He looks absolutely fine. Very impressive on the field. He's the main driver of Palace's success, captain and the leader. He's continued this in camp. He handles it with respect and grace and a brilliant attitude." Guehi will now have to wait for a potential move following this summer's drama. He can engage in talks with foreign clubs as soon as January, while he is not expected to sign a new contract with Crystal Palace before then. Guehi, 25, has so far made 23 appearances for England since his debut under Gareth Southgate in 2022. One man that he could find himself playing alongside is Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Boss Tuchel has explained why he recalled the midfielder after the AC Milan star's 7-year absence from England duty. Tuchel added, "It was always a pleasure to work with him. Very friendly, very polite, good sense of humor. I'm not, sure he is aware of how good he is and how good he can be. He fits in seamlessly. He's shown it straight away and is competing for a place in midfield. It's good to see that he is fit, playing for his club." Meanwhile, Loftus-Cheek has already given his verdict on being back in the England fold under Tuchel, having recounted a specific request made by the German during the pair's time working together at Chelsea. He said, "I remember when he came into Chelsea and he came to me and spoke to me about playing at right wing back. I said, no, 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 no. But I played there anyway. I played many positions under Tuchel, and he values my physicality, so I am used to working under him. He's a very, very intelligent guy, a very intelligent manager, and knows the game so well. England take on Andorra at Villa Park on Saturday evening, ahead of next Tuesday evening's showdown with Serbia in Belgrade. Tuchel's side currently sit top of their qualifying group with 3 wins from as many games.